then we will start the program. A very pleasant afternoon to everyone. I would like to welcome our honorable chief guest, our honorable speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma, all the participants on behalf of WIPAD Nepal and IVSA Pakliava who made it to this live interview on the OIE International Standards in the context of Nepal, despite of the busy schedule of them. This program is under the activity session under World Organization for Animal Health, that is OIE, and introducing myself, I am Banshi Sharma, OIE IVSA Junior Ambassador for Tribhuvan University for this session. And I would like to welcome every one of you. Hope you will have a wonderful experience in this session. And I would like to remind that this program is organized by International Veterinary Students Association, IVSA Pakliava, and it is supported by Young Professionals for Agricultural Development, WIPAD Nepal. So I hope everyone will cooperate till the end. This will be of an hour interview with our honorable speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma. So hope everyone will find this fruitful. So before entering to the interview session, let me just remind, during the program, everyone is requested to mute themselves. That is, if you have any question, then you can just write down clearly in the chat box. Do not raise hand or unmute yourself in between, as this may cause some disorganization. So to make it more organized, please leave your question. If you have any queries related to OIE International Standard in the chat box, I will obviously try to address it. And importantly, act professional and respectfully. Do not write anything unnecessary in the chat box like your email address or something like that. Do not chat with each other. And whenever our honorable speaker and I ask you to write something, then you can write down there. And also the stream will be live in official Facebook page of IVSA Pakliava. So no matter what, you can just watch there after this session as well. Okay. Today we are talking about OIE International Standard in the context of Nepal. But at first we have to know what exactly is OIE International Standards. So for that, we have prepared a video and we will be displaying a video which is prepared by OIE. So hope you will enjoy the video as well. Is the screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, then we will start the video. This video says everything about OIE International Standard, what it is, and its main motto, that is protecting animals, preserving our future. So hope you will just understand the video and get the overview background of OIE International Standard as well.
Animal diseases know no borders. In the last century, when a ship on the Cape route from India docked in Europe, it brought with it not only zebras, but also the rinderpest virus, which decimated farms in the region. The need for international cooperation to control animal diseases became clear, leading in 1924 to the creation of the OIE, the World Organization for Animal Health. Since then, the OIE has been developing international standards for animal health as a reference for the World Trade Organization to help it safeguard international trade in animals and animal products. OIE International Standards help member countries monitor, detect and control more than 120 diseases affecting terrestrial and aquatic animals and sometimes humans. They also contribute to improving animal welfare and are continually updated to keep pace with scientific developments. Each year, revisions are adopted by the OIE World Assembly of Delegates, where each member country has one vote. Beyond disease prevention and control, these standards also help strengthen animal health systems worldwide. Because only effective and competent national veterinary services can meet the challenges of animal health and welfare whilst protecting people and the environment. Healthy animals provide safe food, contributing to the elimination of hunger. Healthy animals ensure quality of life for farmers and agriculturists ensuring a vital source of income for both rural and coastal economies. Healthy animals help build a resilient environment in harmony with human activities. By serving as a basis for the national legislation of its member countries, OIE International Standards contribute to people's economic prosperity, as well as their social and environmental well-being. And they also contribute to achieving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Because protecting animals means preserving our future.
Is my screen visible now?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so after the video, I guess all the participants are cleared what exactly is OIE International Standard before knowing about in the context of Nepal. So yes, OIE works for the improvement of animal health worldwide, and it was created in 1924 as Office International des Epizooties, and in 2003 was preferred as World Organization for Animal Health. And today, OIE has 182 member countries. Headquarters is in Paris, France, 5 regional representation and 7 sub-regional representation. And one of the core functions of OIE is to develop this OIE International Standards, aiming to improve animal health and welfare, as well as veterinary public health worldwide for both terrestrial and aquatic animals. And OIE International Standards consist of OIE codes and OIE manuals. So let's know about in the context of Nepal. So to know about the context of Nepal, let me introduce our key speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma. Sir, are you here? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we're hearing you, sir. Yeah, we're hearing you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Just
Thank you, sir.
okay. Please go on.
Okay, then let me introduce you. Dr. Banshi Sharma has pursued his Bachelor's in Veterinary Science and Animal Husbandry in Odisha University of Agricultural Technology in Bhubaneswar, India. He began his Bachelor's in Veterinary Science in 1983 and completed in 1988. Similarly, has pursued his Master's in Molecular Biology in Belgium, started 1997 and completed in 1999 in Virige Universiteit, Brussels. He joined, back in Nepal, he joined Department of Livestock Services in 17th Asar 2045 BS. He has published several journals, total of 23, including 3 international journals and 20 national journals, and also 10 books in Nepali. And currently he is working as Director General in Department of Livestock Services and also OIE Delegate of Nepal and Chief Veterinary Officer of Nepal. We are very proud to have you, sir. So shall we begin with the interview?
Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
Yeah, before beginning the interview, let me just introduce the host and moderator of the program.
Are you hearing?
Me. And I will be assisted by Ms. Pema Sherpa and Ms. Usha Khatri in case of any technical errors, as well as they will be noting down the important key points told by Mr. Banshi Sharma and summarizing the session at the end as well. Okay, sir, here is your first question. As I told earlier that OIE International Standards consist of OIE codes and OIE manuals. So the question for you is, what are in the OIE codes and OIE manuals included in the OIE International Standards? Hello, sir.
So I think my computer works right now, and I think I'll go through the computer screen.
Okay, sure, sir. You can join from computer now.
Please. Okay, what are the OIE codes and OIE manuals included in the OIE International Standard?
Yes.
Thank you for the question. Actually, you know, OIE standards contained in the terrestrial and aquatic animal health codes are measured to be used by veterinary or competent authorities of importing and exporting countries to prevent the transfer of agent pathogen for animal or humans, while avoiding unjustified sanitary trade barriers. Standards also apply for surveillance and control of animal disease, including zoonoses. And we do have a terrestrial animal health code, aquatic animal health code, manual of diagnostic test and vaccine for terrestrial animals, and there is also manual for diagnostic test for aquatic animals. And then these are the things about the codes and manuals.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. As we have already mentioned, the OIE codes and OIE manuals are included in OIE International Standard, which consists of terrestrial and animal health code. And in that, we have diagnostic tests and vaccines for both terrestrial animals and aquatic animals in the OIE manuals. So I request all the participants that if you want to know more about OIE codes and OIE manuals, then you can just go in the OIE website, and there is standard setting process, and you can see there in that section and know more about OIE codes and OIE manuals in details. Okay, thank you, sir. Shall we begin with the next question?
Okay.
This question is actually related to the theme of our program, that is, what are the use and implementation of OIE International Standards in Nepal? How are the OIE International Standards used and implemented in context of Nepal? Over to you, sir.
Actually, it's a very good question. I would like to tell a little bit about the OIE and the things, what is going on regarding the answering this question. First of all, as you all have seen that video, this is one of the oldest OIE, International Animal Health Organization is one of the oldest international organization. It was established in 1924, and presently there are 182 countries are member of this one. And there is a method of standard setting on this in this organization. In the context of Nepal, how we are using means disease notification of OIE listed disease. Whenever there is a list of the disease which we have to report, if there is any outbreak of any disease, we have to report to the OIE, no doubt. But notifiable disease are that one which we must have to immediately we have to notify to them. That's number one, and we are doing according to the OIE standards. And similarly, there is a disease AMU, antimicrobial use and antimicrobial resistance situation updating. This is a comparatively new function as antibiotics has been rampantly used in the developing country, and that makes it's not problem only in livestock. The problem whenever we will feed much of the antibiotics to the animal, then it goes to the human by means of meat, eggs, or milk. So it is quite important, and we have to report this one. And presently in Nepal, I am telling you that in the animal feed, we will have a zero tolerance, or maybe we are not giving antibiotics to feed the animals. That's one important point. And similarly, surveillance of animal disease. Whatever may be the disease in the country, we have a 753 municipalities, and there is a veterinary section in each of them. And whenever there is a disease or any condition, that is reported to the epidemiology unit of the Department of Livestock Services. And similarly, there is diagnostic test as per OIE gold standard test and alternative test. That means we do have a central veterinary laboratory in Kathmandu, and similarly we have a National Avian Diagnostic Laboratory in Chittoor. And rest of the other 5 provinces, we do have a laboratory. We have a well capability in the laboratory. We do have a real-time PCR in many of our laboratories. So even in the context of COVID-19, veterinary laboratory, 6 of the veterinary laboratories are directly participating in COVID-19 veterinary, that is according to the OIE standard we have made, and similar of different authority make us a problem. That means veterinary drug is regulated by the Drug Administration Office, that is under the Department of Health and Population. That's quite different. And also animal feed, some part of the animal feed regulation is from the Department of Food Technology and Quality Control in Nepal. That's to make a little different. But in overall, OIE International Standard is governing through our acts and strategies in our country. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So let me just summarize what he said. OIE International Standards are used and implemented in the case of disease notification to OIE, and Nepal has been preparing report as well. And similarly, antimicrobial use is one of the most used and implementation of OIE International Standard, and ensuring food safety in animal product is one of the main cores. Similarly, animal feed safety and surveillance of disease can't be left out as well. Diagnostic tests, which are considered as gold standard tests, are also one. And many of the participants are really curious that in coronavirus situation of pandemic, thank you to Dr. Sharma, who have already made it clear that even in the pandemic, 6 veterinary labs are running, which is a good news for every one of us. Similarly, regulation of veterinary drugs and quality control is also one of the activity in use and implementation of OIE International Standards in Nepal. So let us proceed with another question. As sir, I've already told that OIE in Nepal, disease notification is done to OIE. So we want to know what are the actual procedures of disease notification to OIE. Like when the disease outbreak in certain part of the country, how does the OIE take action? What are the OIE actions, immediate action for disease notifications?
Thank you. First of all, whenever there is a disease, farmers or maybe the group of farmer cooperative will report to the nearest veterinary center that is run by our municipalities, or maybe the veterinary hospital in the district or the laboratory in the region. They will know about the disease. First of all, the nearest point where they can report, they have to report. And when there is a reporting, the report subsequently passed to the epidemiological section in the Department of Livestock Services. When it comes to the Department of Livestock Services, we'll take with due care to this one, then we'll analyze what type of disease. Maybe by even in the paper, if somebody published there is a lot of animal death due to this disease, we have to verify that one. And after verifying from our epidemiological section in the department, then we'll report to the OIE. And when we'll report to the OIE, first of all, we'll try to find the fact by the laboratory testing. We have a central veterinary lab, and in the province also we have a lab. We would have a laboratory backup. With the help of the laboratory backup, we'll tell to the OIE that the disease. But every time it may not be possible to have a diagnosis of all the disease. At that time, we will say, this is the test we have done, this is the positive, this is the negative, and maybe this is the disease that will tell them what is going on. So that means whenever there is a disease in one part of Nepal, that is reported to the epidemiology unit in the government, and from the epidemiology unit will just pass on to the OIE. And when there is a special cases of emerging disease or things, and every weekly or maybe fortnightly will report what is the situation. So like in a bird flu, when there is an outbreak of H5N1, then we'll confirm the cases to the OIE, and then subsequent notification shall be done. That means this disease is going on this way, from this part it has gone to another part, or how it is moving, just real-time reporting we are also making. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Yes, the disease notification is probably the lengthiest process as well. First, when the disease outbreak occurs, we have to report to nearest vet center, municipality, or vet hospital in the district. Then this will go further in the investigation to epidemiological investigation. And when it is verified by epidemiologist, then with the facts from all the laboratories, test, and all the diagnostic report as well, the report will be sent to OIE. And for the emerging cases, the fortnightly report have been made and subsequent notification is done. Yes, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let us, before another question, I would like to remind all the participants that if you have any question or inquiry relating to OIE International Standard, you can just leave it in the chat box. I will try to address every question of yours. Okay. The next question is, are the OIE members obliged to implement the international standards? What are the consequences if they don't?
Thank you. An obligation in the OIE organic status signed and ratified by founding countries. By deciding to join the OIE, a member agreed to fulfill its international commitment to notify to the OIE and maintain transparency in animal health information. I mean that actually whenever there is a disease, we have to inform to the OIE. You know, this is the transparent world, and if we hide something, you know, everybody will know in a day or two later matters. So that we are very much cautious about the things in the disease, and will inform them. And the health measure in the terrestrial code should be used by the veterinary authorities of importing and exporting countries to provide for early detection, reporting, and control agents that trade in animals and animal products while avoiding unjustified sanitary barrier to trade. Infectious disease can often spread at lightning speed, as you know. 60% of the pathogens that affect humans are of animal origin. Effective surveillance enabling early detection of this disease at their source in animal is therefore crucial, so that they can be quickly controlled, thereby protecting animal and human population. Moreover, that obligation of OIE standard is that we have to preserve ourselves also. This is quite clear. So, what are the consequences if they don't? Means, because if we don't obey the OIE standard, if we don't follow, then we'll go back. You know, our country future on animal health, animal population, and our status in the world will be diminished. So it's not the case that we don't obey this thing. We should obey and we'll go forward. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful answer, Dr. Sharma. Yes, the OIE members are certainly obliged to implement the OIE International Standards when they join the OIE, because being the member of OIE, you are obliged to every commitments. We have commitments for transparency in animal health as well. And being the member, implementation of efficient health measures is important. And also to control the import and exporting of the animal products. Similarly, a fact, 60% pathogens are affecting human are from the animal origin. So what are the consequences if they don't? Certainly the OIE members are obliged to implement the standards to preserve ourselves, our nation, and for the upliftment of the animal welfare in the country. As OIE International Standards are only the universal standard which is followed by every members. Okay, let us continue with the other question. So this question is actually about your profession, sir. As you are the OIE delegate of Nepal, what are your duties and responsibilities in the country? As OIE International Standards are only the universal standard which is followed by every members. Okay, let us continue with the other question. So this question is actually about your profession, sir. As you are the OIE delegate of Nepal, what are your duties and responsibilities towards OIE?
Okay, thank you. Actually, you know, to become a OIE delegate, the government of Nepal will designate one person for OIE delegate. The process is that by the ministerial level decision, the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development will make one of the members from the ministry as a delegate for the OIE. For me, that's from last 1 year, I had been working as a delegate for Nepal by Honorable Minister decision. Normally in Nepalese cases, that's normally Director General of Department of Livestock Services will be the OIE delegate, because he or she will lead the country national veterinary services. That's quite important. And second thing is there's a function and status, as you mentioned, duties and responsibility. First of all, that I mean I'm a technical delegate, and then myself will represent in the meeting of International Assembly meeting, the OIE conference, with possibility of leading the delegates. I have that role. And second of all, negotiating for international veterinary standards. That means the standards which are required in the global phase, that's a write-up will come to me as a delegate, and I'll check it, and the appropriate authority, I'll assign the person who is expert in our country about that field, that I have to do that one. And as you previously know, that notification of the OIE National Animal Disease Status, that's quite important. That is a major one. I can say you in 1 year, I have a more of the work done as a animal disease notification. We have to submit 6 monthly, yearly reporting to the OIE, and that's quite important, and we have to do that one. Aquatic animal health, and also wildlife animal health, and also to the terrestrial animal. So this reporting we have to do. National reporting with international status in so many program and so many dedicated webinar, everything that's organized in the global level. I have to face on that one, and we have to represent the country on that one. Apart from there are so many duties, but I'll list you a little bit of that one. Not all, but few of them I'll tell to you right now. The delegate ensure that as far as possible, the resolution of World Assemblies are applied. That is the World Assembly. In that we have to put the vision of the country. He or she must ensure that the veterinary service and animal disease diagnostic laboratory of his or her country are kept updated and OIE standards. That means what we adopt in the General Assembly, then we have to do that one accordingly in our country. That's quite important. And the delegates must ensure the regular payment of statutory annual contribution his or her country to the OIE. It's also important. We are paying about, not exactly, but I would say we have a 6 category of fees applied to the OIE per year, because based on that the OIE runs is cost. So we are the somehow least developed country, so we have a little money compared to other country, but as we are going progressing further, we have to pay more to the OIE. This is also quite important. And then also I have to designate national focal points. I'll talk about the focal points after this one. Laboratory of Collaborative Center, twinning of the project of lab, that's also a delegate has a responsibility. And then I would like to have to attend the different meetings of the regional commission, that's also important. And remain in regular contact with OIE regional or sub-regional representatives. Apart from that, as a CBO, we have a SARC CBO forum, so Chief Veterinary Officer Forum of the SARC region. This is also somehow, part by the OIE, because this is also quite important forum. That's also important. And apart from this one, in the focal point, what are the focal points? I'll tell you: aquatic animal disease, wildlife, animal disease notification, veterinary products, communication, animal welfare, animal production, food safety, and veterinary laboratory. These are the focal points which I'll appoint to them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful answer. As a OIE delegate of Nepal, it is certainly to present Nepal in international platform as well. To present Nepal's animal welfare status to global level is the main objective of OIE delegate of Nepal. So yes, what obligations to be implied is that he will be representing all the resolutions of World Assembly, and he will apply and implement those resolutions in the welfare status of Nepal. Similarly, as he is working as the technical delegate, he have to attend all the OIE conferences in the international level, negotiate between the international weight standard. Also, after the disease notification, after the outbreak of the disease, you have to update the timely report to OIE as well. And focal point areas like food safety, terrestrial, animal health code, aquatic animals, food safety, veterinary labs are also measure of the concerns. So I guess all the participants are well known that how being the Director General as OIE, Director General of Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development Office, he is working as the OIE delegate as well and appointed by the government of Nepal itself. Okay, let us go with another question. Okay, sir?
Yes, please.
Next question is, we want to know that what exactly is the OIE International Standard setting process, and does Nepal serve as any part in the setting of the OIE International Standards? Over to you, sir, for the answer.
Thank you. Standards are drafted by independent experts drawn from different OIE regional and selected on the basis of scientific excellence and geographical balance. Mechanisms are in place to ensure the neutrality and scientific integrity of experts appointed to work with the OIE. Normally, this the member of the ad hoc group, specialist commission, and working group, they have 3 years of mandate, tenure of 3 years, and anyone from any country in the world can be the member, and you have to apply for that one. Suppose just I'm telling you, if I'm one of the member of any of the ad hoc group, specialist commission, any group, but there is due by election, they will be selected by election in the General Assembly normally. And first of all, the group will make by the expert, they will draft the reports, and then that reports will sent to all of the 182 countries delegates, and they will distribute to the expert within their country, and they will correct it, and finally it is endorsed in General Assembly. Normally OIE has a yearly meeting in the last week of the May. At that time it will be highlighted. So we have a lot of role to serve in this one, but due to the lack of the very expert in each and every field, we may contribute in the very limited area where we have expertise. So each and every area there may not be possible to have our role. So we should be very careful about the standard, how it is coming, how it is going, and how we'll update it in our country also is quite important. So we are doing accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Um, Talking about the OIE standard setting process, certainly it is drafted by independent expert in the OIE, and to ensure neutrality and scientific feasibility is one of the most thing to be done by the delegates. And each delegate have 3 years tenure, and which he have to submit all the reports to OIE country delegate, which will be evaluated by the expert, corrected, and it is endorsed in the General Assembly as well. So let us proceed with the next question. Okay, sir?
Yes, please.
We all know that about the open borders of Nepal. So the question is, how is the international trade safeguarded in the open borders in Nepal?
It's quite important. We have provision of Animal Health and Livestock Services Act 2055 and its regulation 2056. It mentions about the quarantine measures, how we have 8 quarantine offices and 24 quarantine checkpoints. And then we do have import export permit. If somebody will import the live animal, biologicals or animal products from abroad, from India, China, they have to take the import permit. I mean that without taking the import permit, they cannot bring it. So when they will take it, just will inspect the certificate, health certificate, sanitary certificate, what type of product they are importing, if live animal, what is the health condition of that country. So we'll check all these things. So we are safeguarding it. And certification is a much important part, in the veterinary services. National veterinary services will take it very seriously. We don't provide any health certificate until and unless the animal is found healthy. So similarly, in other country also they will give it, and based on that, not only based on that report, but also we'll check the OIE list. What are the diseases are prevalent in that country? If the country is free from some country disease, suppose FMD, then we'll take it surely that the country is free from that one. Otherwise, we don't accept that one. If somebody will write is free, also we don't support that one. So these are the main things that supporting by the certification, quarantine measures, and import export permit. These are the 3 major issues. Thank you.
So I guess the participants have knowledge about how is the international trade safeguarded despite of the open borders in Nepal. Dr. Banshi Sharma explained that there are 8 quarantine measures and 24 quarantine checkposts. Similarly, there is provision of animal health and livestock services as well. At first, when something is exported, about the animal product is imported to Nepal, the certain person have to take permit of import permit from the International Trade Commission. Similarly, you should have the certification. The certification is must, health and sanitary certification as well. In case of live animals, health condition is assured. And finally, we have to assure that from which country the animal product, live animals are imported to Nepal. And in what is the prevalence of diseases of that animal as well. And certainly, we will regulate the animal health safety as well. Okay, sir, thank you for your wonderful answer for this question as well. Now let's move on to another question. Okay, talking about this question, let me just read it out. Are only the OIE members involved in the standard setting process, or the government of the country is also included? What happens when government refuses to incorporate the OIE International Standards in the nation's policy? Over to you, sir.
Yes, thank you. It's a very tricky question. Actually, as when we become a member of OIE, we agree the condition. This is somehow the precondition, the standard what OIE will make it, that's the benefit of the global public, not only for one country. the OIE will not see for one country, it will see for the whole global, all the countries. And when we talk about the animal welfare issue, animal disease issue, it is all for the public in the global community. What I mean that's, if there is a disease in one part of the world, it is a threat to the other part of the world. So to contain that disease in the earliest possible time is our motto. So the standards is always, you make a standard better than the Y, and you can follow that one. Suppose I am telling you that in the European countries, EU standards are, some standards are more than Y standards. That means they are following higher standard than the Y. And in the developing country, many are following lower than the Y standards, and they are trying to go up to the Y standard. This is the problem. But everybody and every country in the world, they are trying to meet with the Y standard. That's for sure. If we don't meet the Y standards, then there is a possibility that we cannot export anything. Just the country may be the dumping site. If our standard is much below than the Y, and virtually in that context, we cannot send anything to other country. So for the benefit of the country also, we have to make the standards up to the OIE. So it will safeguard our public, and also food safety, animal health, animal welfare, everything is supported. So I mean that's so OIE stand is very, very crucial and to meet a sanitary and phytosanitary condition of the country. So it is important, and we should obey by that. If we don't incorporate, then means we shall be a dumping site in the world. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, as Dr. Banshi Sharma said, as the member of OIE, we have to agree to the conditions, what standard, what we make it, so that we have to make it globally. These OIE standards are not only approved by only one country, but it is approved by all the country. And the disease outbreak in one part of the world is spread to other countries as well. And according to him, the level of standard are implemented. If this level of standard are not implemented and are refused, then the export from Nepal is also banned, and certainly we will serve as a dumping site country. And so to make the benefit of standard, to use this OIE International Standard, we have to agree to the conditions what the international standard serves, and also to maintain the sanitary and phytosanitary conditions as well. Okay, let us go with the next question. The next question is, what are the measures of diagnosis and surveillance of the disease?
For this one, I would tell you that Chapter 1.4 of Terrestrial Animal Health Code and Animal Health Surveillance, you can look on that one. There are a lot of information, you can get it. And the main thing is that what are the disease diagnosis, that means, and surveillance of the disease. In our country, we are surveilling the disease. There is surveillance of the disease from the check post, veterinary quarantine check post, and the laboratories, and also veterinary service center in the municipality also they are doing. And the diagnosis of the disease is majorly will have the regional veterinary laboratory in the 5 places, and avian disease diagnostic lab in Chittagong and central veterinary laboratory in Kathmandu. They are diagnosing, and in also 77 districts they have a laboratories. They also work on the diagnosis. So diagnosis, although there are a lot of diseases, there are so many diseases and which are prevalent in our country. Economically, there are 5 or 6 major diseases in Nepal. What I say, suppose for us, FMD is very important, HS and BQ important, Ranikhet important, highly pathogenic avian influenza important, rabies. These are the major diseases, what I say. So though there are so many diseases, but these are the major diseases, and we have to report very frequently to this disease, and we have to make the program, and we do have a national program to cope up with these diseases, and there is a vaccination program for the FMD. 5 million doses of vaccines we are doing this fiscal year from our government, and similarly we have a backward poultry, that's a Ranicate disease vaccination program is also there, and classical swine fever vaccination program also there. These are the very important and very essential things. Surveillance of the disease is a continuous process. We should not do one day and sleep for the next of the year. No, we have to surveillance of the disease each and every day, every time, and the persons who are responsible to report it, they have to report it to the higher authority, and finally it will come to the epidemiology section of the Department of Livestock Services. And based on the diagnosis of the central veterinary lab and our regional veterinary lab, then we'll think what shall we have to do on that one, and we have given a gold standard test also. What are the gold standard tests? How to surveillance of the highly pathogenic avian influenza. There is a clear cut how to make it, and everything is there. So I suggest you to have a go through the OIE website and Terrestrial Animal Health Code and Animal Health Surveillance part. That will be very nice for you. Thank you.
Certainly, disease diagnosis and surveillance is continuous process. It's that we start today and we stop tomorrow. It's a continuous process. We have to carry on because we don't know at what point the outbreaks may occur. So disease diagnosis and surveillance is done from veterinary quarantine checkpost, and it is diagnosed by veterinary regional or district hospital and laboratory as well. And there is national vaccination program for FMD and similar type of diseases, so that the future outbreak of the disease will not happen. And similarly, I request all the participants to go to OIE website, that is www.oie.int, and under the international standard, go to chapter 1.4 and see animal health code to find the detailed knowledge about this question. Okay. We have almost come to the end of this questionnaire session from my side. And the last question from my side is, are the national provisions regarding the aspect of animal welfare adequate to meet the OIE International Standards?
Thank you. Actually, animal welfare is a very big issue at the moment. As you heard in Nepal also, there is many of the problems that when there is a slaughtering of the animals, some of the animal was thrown from the hill, and some of the people had killed the dog inhumanly. So many things are coming up, and animal welfare issue become a hot cake at the beginning, and even in this COVID-19 lockdown cases, there are so many animals, monkey and dog, cat, they don't get the food due to the there is no movement of the humans. They have a very problem that's come up, and then we think about this one, and we do have an animal welfare focal person in our country, and we are drafting some of the Animal Welfare Act or Animal Welfare Directives. We do have an Animal Welfare Act is in progress. That is not finalized till now, but Department of Livestock Services already given the preliminary draft of this one. And in also Terrestrial Animal Health Code of Animal Welfare, there is a rule and regulation about transport of animal by sea, land, and air, and we do have a animal transportation directives 2064 by Department of Livestock Services, and also the slaughtering of animals, how we will slaughter the animal. That's human method of killing, that's quite important, and how to control the stray dog population, that's also important, and the use of animal in research and education, that's also quite important, and that's also we have to take the human measure. Animal welfare for the broiler chicken production, that's also quite important. Dairy cattle production system also important. Welfare of working equids. We have also one of the directives make for the welfare of working equids, donkeys also we have prepared in our country from our ministry, that is in place also at the moment. And the animal welfare and pig production system also important, and killing of reptiles for their skin. Though people are killing reptiles for skin, meat, and other products, there is also we have to take care for the animal welfare. Implementation of animal welfare measures are always crucial for the developing country like Nepal, where government priorities are too many, including food security. So food security is the major concern, to have a animal protein food to the people. Side by side, we have to think about the welfare of the animal. So we have to make the balance between the welfare of animal and animal production, that we are working till now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. So I would just like to point out the problems we are facing in this lockdown, like in lockdown, as well as the problems of animal welfare in the context of Nepal, that is inhuman slaughtering, number one. Next is the risks in the translocation of animals from one place to another. Next is the uncontrolled stray dog population and food scarcity to animals in this lockdown. As Dr. Banshi Sharma said, there is animal welfare focal point, and Animal Welfare Act is in process as well. There are certain rules and regulations to implement to address these problems in Nepal, like regulations in transportation, regulations in animal welfare in livestock and poultry production, research and education, the use of animals in research and education, and finally, food security side by side with animal welfare in balance. So we have almost come to the end of the session. So I would like to ask participants, if you have any question, then you can just leave it in the chat box. We have several questions in the chat box, sir. I will read them out, okay?
Okay.
The first question is from Asmita Goire. The question is, are laboratory in veterinary institutes following OIE standards? Is there obligation for them to follow?
Okay. Veterinary, I mean that veterinary institute means teaching institute or others?
Yes, I think they mean teaching institute as well.
Okay, fine. So it's very difficult to say, but I'm telling you very true. The government laboratory is quite good at the moment, but the teaching institute, due to the financial resources, you know, there is very scarce resources. There is very little money going to the institute, so that they are unable to maintain the laboratory. That's the problem, primary problem. The reagent are expensive. The laboratory making, or maybe the so many costs are, so maybe the government has to take it very seriously, and maybe we have to support a little bit more to the laboratory in the veterinary institute, so that they will make a standard. At the moment, the OIE standards meeting in the veterinary teaching institute is very gleam, you know, it's not up to the standard, but in the future, I think we'll make it up to the OIE standard to the veterinary institute.
Thanks, sir. I guess Asmita Goire have found her answer as well. It's not up to the standard, but certainly OIE is obligating to maintain the standard in the near future as well. Here's another question from Asmita Goire as well. That is, how many laboratories are there in Nepal? I mean, they are sufficient. Are they accessible to people from remote areas?
Okay, thank you. That means previously we have a 77 district, and each district there is a laboratory, small laboratory, a basic one. But for the good and the standard laboratory, we have a 5 regional veterinary lab. The name is previous one. Currently there is in the headquarters of the province. That means we have in Biratnagar, Janakpur, and also Pokhara, Surkhet, and Dhangadi. We have a very good lab. and there is no doubt this is a very good standards, and many of these labs are helping to diagnose the COVID-19 for the human health. So they are very good lab, and in Chiton also we have a National Avian Diagnostic Lab, and in Kathmandu Avian Central Veterinary Laboratory and FMD and TATS lab. We have a so lab. There is not a problem of lab in Nepal at the moment. I am telling you, but we have to make more labs. That's in the province 5. There is no lab for that province. So we have to make one for that province. That's quite important. As you said, that's quite important. And the rest of the lab, that depends upon the demand of the public. Public will demand some of the lab, and the people representative will think it is important to establish a lab over there. Then they will establish. Establishing a lab is not a big deal. We can establish a lot, but maintaining it, have a good educated people, good capacity building, reagent, and everything running around the year is quite difficult. So that's why we have to think on that one. Number of lab is okay, there is not a problem, but running it 365 days with a good capacity, with gold standards and OIE standards is quite important, and we have to go on that track. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There is another question from Ms. Chandrakala Rana. What is the golden diagnostic technique for African swine fever?
Okay. Actually, nowadays, we have a real-time PCR. So to have diagnosis the disease, certainly that PCR test is much important. So I'll suggest you for the PCR test for that disease. Thank you.
I guess Chandrakala Rana is clear about the answer to use of PCR test. The next question is from Umanga Rasaili. He's from Jumla, and he have a question. I think the hospital here is not applying any gold standard of OIE. So is there anything that OIE justifies in such case?
I think the student from Jumla, he is a Bachelor of Veterinary Science or junior technician. I don't think that is in Jumla there is a veterinary institute till now, what I see. But anyway, if he is working in the hospital is fine. There is not a problem. But to make Jumla veterinary hospital lab up to the standards is quite important. The lab in the remote area should have also good facility, support bacterial culture. I don't think much of the work has done in Jumla, but they should do the bacterial culture, biochemical testing, and fecal sample collection and testing. This sort of things, mastitis test and urine test, deep stick test. This sort of test, every test is not the gold standard of OIE, but it doesn't need, in each and every place we should not go for the gold standard OIE test. Simple test, if we can perform in the village and diagnose the disease, that is also the good thing in the beginning. When we are doing good work, and if there is a role of veterinary and livestock is growing up and the fishery section growing up, similarly we have to make it much standard. So Jumla, I think you have to focus on biochemical test, mastitis test, and fecal sample collection, blood test, and basic test. I think ELISA, PCR is not, you need a lot of manpower also. It's not only the budget, and establishing a lab is not that difficult, but maintaining is difficult. So I suggest you more of the thing we have to do in the future, but in the present times, we have to do the basic thing. Thank you.
Here is another question from Chandrakala Rana. But in OIE manuals, gold standard diagnostic technique is mentioned as hem adsorption test. Does it differ according to countries?
No, what I suggest you, gold standard test means whenever there is so many diseases, about 200 diseases, I'm just rampantly I'm telling you, each and every disease there are a diagnostic test. So suppose I'm just giving you example of the rabies. previously rabies we are doing from mouse inoculation test, and from that that is in the microscopy. Also we are looking on that one, but now we can do the PCR for also the rabies. I mean, the things depends upon what is the facility in our lab and what the capability we have. So based on similarly, we can do also the rapid test also. Now the rapid test is very easy, but it doesn't mean that rapid test doesn't give always the correct answer. You know, that's quite important. That's why, so according to place and according to standard, we have to make it. Gold standard is the very good standard, but we have to think our condition, you know. So we have to feel about our the working place, how is the facility, how is our technical capability, how we are getting the things. Based on that, we have to go for the gold standard. Though there are so many gold standards, but we cannot go each and everything in each layer. That's quite important. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I guess Chandrakala Rana is satisfied with your answer, as she have exclaimed. Thank you, sir. So I request all the participants that if you have any question, then you can ask. So here is another question as well from Usta Khatri. Sir, does way of slaughtering animals differ according to countries in OIE standards? As I felt totally cruelty in case of Chinese way of slaughtering animals, and in other countries also might be.
Actually, slaughtering of the animals, stoning is quite important. Stoning shall be done, and then after by jugular vein, complete jugular vein cutting, and all the blood should come out, and there is a least pain to the animal. That is the motto. You know, motto is to we have to kill the animal, we have to eat the meat. That's the important thing. But whenever we are killing in that process, certain time we should not give the meal to the animals. Feeding is restricted sometimes before, and also drinking of sufficient water we have to give, and we have to follow the procedure. That's quite important. And each and every place people are not following, and slaughter out and meat inspection act 2055, and is regulation 2057 is there in Nepal also, but unfortunately the act is not implemented in the place in Nepal till now. So there are difficulty in different countries. People may slaughter the animal differently. I don't like to mention the name, but the thing is that stoning of animal is important, and after that whole blood, taking out from the body is that quite important. And human method of killing is recommended. That's all. Thank you.
I guess Usta Khatri is satisfied with your answer as well. There are no questions popping out. I would request all the participants that if you have any question, it's your time. Take your time and ask your question. As our OIE delegate of Nepal, Dr. Banshi Sharma, is very busy person, and he might not be available to answer at the end of the session. So I request all the participants to address your question here in the chat box. So let's wait 1 minute until anyone addresses their question. Let's wait 1 minute for questions. So here is another question as well. Do OIE work in case of wildlife too?
Actually, as I mentioned you that we have a wild focal point for the wildlife. Department of Wildlife is there in Nepal, and they are working for the welfare and all aspect of the wildlife, and disease reporting of the wildlife through the wildlife focal point to Nepal. He is also the vet, veterinarian and he is reporting to us. Certainly that is working. So that means as a delegate, OIE delegate, I have appointed the person who works in the that's one wildlife department. So he will report. So we work also on wildlife also. That's you.
There is another question from Mr. Asis Adhikari. Is there adequate involvement of veterinarians in wildlife health conservation, actually in the case of Nepal?
Previously, there are many posts for the veterinarian in the wildlife department of wildlife, but many veterinarians they are reluctant to join the job over the wildlife. Previously, what I'm telling you, and due to that, the posts are reduced to very limited number. But now, what in the new organization and management, we are trying to have involve more veterinarians in the wildlife health. Certainly that is required and will do in the future. That's important. Yes.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. Here is another question from Mr. Smita Gaire. What has OIE been doing in case of poorly regulated wildlife trade?
Actually, what I'm telling you, wildlife trade is somehow illegal. It's not illegal. So killing of wild animals is not a good thing. We have to preserve, conserve them. And some of the listed animals, people may have authority by paying money. They can have hunting also some part of the Nepal. That's an exceptional thing. For that, there is a good regulation, and we are also supporting for that. But rest of the wildlife trade, many wildlife trade is illegal. So for the illegal trade, there is no question of regulation also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So we will be entertaining only one question now, since we are lagging time. So participants, I request all the participants, if you have question, then you can leave it in the chat box. I will be addressing one question. So here is another question. Sir, is there any judicial institution separated especially for OIE?
So what is the mean? That's in Nepal, in the global context, or in the OIE headquarters?
I guess he's talking about in the context of Nepal.
No, we don't have that's not a different. OIE is the intergovernmental organization from 182 countries. And what the judicial system of Nepal also facilitate the OIE work. So we are not a separate. Judicial system of a country is the same one. That will govern everything, okay? That's not a difference. So there should not be the question of OIE having a separate judicial system. This is my answer.
She would like to know in global matter.
And globally also, the judicial system in each and every country has a one. So there is no different, there is no different court or institute for some organization. Nowhere. So what is the condition of Nepal is the condition of India and also of the every country in the world.
Thank you, sir. I think she is satisfied with the answers as well. Participants, if you have any questions, you can leave it in the chat box. There are no questions. Then
Okay.
let's proceed with the
okay,
next.
thank. So if there is no question, so I'll say something in the final.
Yes, sir. Before that, let me just end this presentation with a quote.
Okay.
The quote is given by Sarah Sills, Chair of the International Coalition for Animal Welfare at the World Organization for Animal Health in Paris, May 2016. And it says, development is not just economic. Most importantly, it is about well-being and quality of life, and it's about flourishing for people, nature, and the animals. Okay, that's all.
Okay. Okay.
I would like Dr. Banshi Sharma to give message to all the participants who have been hearing from the beginning.
Okay. Thank you, Subhasri. First of all, I would like to the veterinary students from the Pakli Hawa to organize this one a program where I can share some of the view, what I understand and what is good to our country that I express it. If there is something technical mistake or some of the queries, if I have said in a way that may hurt somebody, so I'll sorry for that one. You know what I know, I have expressed to each and everyone, and finally, a student will learn lot of things. As I'm telling you, when I graduated, I don't know about the OIE. The situation was at that time we don't read about the OIE, and there is no. But when we enter the government, and similarly later on we know the OIE, and we know a lot of things at the moment. So it's a good opportunity. Now the students, they know a lot of things when they join the job. This is quite important, and it will make the competent manpower to our institution. And the future Department of Livestock Services will get the people who are very important and they know the things in beforehand joining to the institute. That's quite important. And this sort of webinar or this program will enhance the knowledge. And I would like to thank you all for giving this opportunity to me from the Department of Livestock Services. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We are very much happy to have you here. Despite of all the busy schedule, you just allocated your time for us and gave it to us. Certainly, I guess all the participants have are interested in OIE, so they are here, and I think they all are clear about the international standards of OIE and enhanced their knowledge as well. So, for the summarization of the session, I would like to call Miss Pema Sherpa. Miss Pema Sherpa, are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, now I guess this is the last session, so I request you to summarize this session. Over to you, Pema.
Thank you, Suva. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
As Dr. Sharma mentioned, OIE standards are contained in the Terrestrial and Aquatic Animal Health Codes, and these are the measures to be used by veterinary or competent authorities of importing and exporting countries. Regarding manuals, we have manual for diagnostic tests and vaccines for both terrestrial and aquatic animals. He gave us some really good insights about the use and implementation of OIE standards in Nepal. He mentioned how disease is notified from farmers, vets, labs and abattoirs to OIE. When the disease is encountered, it is first reported to the nearest vet hospital, municipality or lab, then to the epidemiological section of Department of Livestock Services. Then it goes for disease verification, ultimately to the OIE, then which is reported and fortnightly report is made and subsequent notification. We also got to know how obliged the member countries of OIE are to notify to the OIE and maintaining the transparency in animal health information, and how all members should follow the OIE commitments, otherwise the sustainability and standards can't be maintained in the animal welfare. As infectious diseases can often spread, the organization is working in this level, so the member organization should follow accordingly, so that otherwise the objective is difficult to meet. He also shared about his duties and responsibilities as an OIE delegate. OIE delegates are appointed by Ministry of Government, and like negotiation of international veterinary standards, notification on the national animal disease, representing the vision of the country in the World Assembly. Similarly, he mentioned designation of the national focal points as the major concerns for the OIE. Regarding Nepal's participation in our standard setting, standards are drafted by the independent experts drawn from different OIE regions and are selected on the basis of scientific excellence. Mechanisms are in place to ensure the neutrality and scientific integrity based on the experts appointed to work with the OIE, and each delegate has a tenure of 3 years and are selected by election in the General Committee. Drafting the reports and are sent to all the delegates and are then reviewed. OIE has yearly meeting in the last week of May, and he also emphasized how important it is to maintain the standard in all the places. And regarding the safeguarding of the international trade in open borders of Nepal, it is crucial for the provisions crucial, and the provisions of Animal Health and Livestock Service Act 2055, like 8 quarantine measures, 24 health checkposts, import-export permit from International Trade Commission, certification from Veterinary Authority of exporting country, it is a must. And some of the measures of the disease diagnosis and surveillance, he mentioned surveillance as a continuous process. And for the surveillance, vet quarantine, checkposts, lab municipality, and diagnostic centers for diagnosis. And he also mentioned 5 or 6 economic diseases in Nepal, like FMD, Ranikhet, HPAI, rabies, and for whose frequently reporting is done to the OIE, and vaccination program for FMD is running from the very fiscal year onwards. And suggestion, he also gave suggestion of the terrestrial code on website, and emphasized on how effective surveillance is important to enable the early detection of the infectious diseases. And Dr. Sharma also emphasized how animal welfare is a very big issue at the moment in Nepal. Many problems regarding the slaughtering, inhumanely beating dog, shortage of food for stray animals due to lockdown. And regarding our works in Nepal, we have animal focal persons in our country, and Animal Welfare Act is on process. We also do have animal transportation directories in 2064, and certain rules like on controlling stray dogs' use of animal research, way of slaughtering, avian welfare, working animal welfare and skin production, implementation of animal welfares and crucial food security, so that working on balance between animal welfare and food production can be made. So now we'll be having a quick poll to have your feedback on today's program.
Ms. Pema Sherpa, let me just interrupt. We have one very interesting question from Minal Gimire. Just wait. The question is, there are so many people dying due to snake bites in Nepal, especially in Tarai region. Are there veterinarians or institutions involved in anti-venom research in Nepal? I repeat the question. There are so many people dying due to snake bites in Nepal, especially in Tarai region. Are there veterinarians or institutions involved in anti-venom research in Nepal?
The question is for me?
Yes, sir. This is for you.
Okay, fine. Actually, you know, the snake public health importance. Snake biting is a public health importance, and in the in one health cases also. That's from the human health side. They are treating and all these things. That's true. But we are thinking in the future project we are working some preliminary work on the snake venom collection and making anti-snake venom production or things. We are working on this one, but in a very initial stage. Till now, we don't have anything on the snake venom work in our country, but we are thinking this is the work of the veterinarian of this country. And now presently we have a One Health strategy is passed from the government, and we are making the One Health action plan. I think in that we will incorporate this one. You have a very good suggestion, and it shall be our work for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful answer. I guess Mr. Minal Gimire is satisfied with the answers as well. So, Ms. Pema Sherpa, thank you for your wonderful summarization. I think the participants who have missed a little of the information from Dr. Banshi Sharma are cleared now. And we are almost at the end of this session. Thank you. And I request everyone to answer the poll, which is in the screen now. %75% of the people have voted the answer. Still 25% left. Okay, thank you so much, all the participants and our honorable speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma, Pema Sherpa, for summarizing the session. Now, at the end of the session, I would like to call Mr. Santosh Panta, President of IBSA Paklihawa, to end this session with his wonderful and remarkable words. So I will be going now. Goodbye. Have a good day. Over to you, Mr. President.
I hope I am audible to everyone. And especially I would like to thank to Miss Subhashri Sharma hosting this program, and also she is the editor of IBSA Pagliua, and also our OIE Junior Ambassador from Tribhuvan University IS Pagliua. Firstly, me myself and team of IBSA Pagliua would like to thank to our key speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma, who is OIE Delegates of Nepal, and also he is the Director General at Department of Livestock Services, Chief Veterinary Officers of Nepal, being here and sharing about OIE International Standards of Nepal despite its busy schedule. Also, I am thankful to Young Professionals for Agriculture Development Nepal for technical platform and youth support. Also, special thanks to all hardworking and dedicated members and supporters who made this program grand and successful, and especially to editor of IBSA Pagliua, Miss Subhashri Sharma. We are so grateful to receive information regarding OIE International Standards from Dr. Banshi Sharma. I hope we all got a great opportunity to explore and learn about that mandatory subject matters that is modestly included in our lectures and syllabus. Also, we too are glad to hear that OIE has been conducting in such hectic situations of difficulties in the context of Nepal as well. To know about the fluent conductance of Central Lab in Kathmandu and various municipalities and vet sections in various sectors is a subject of glad, especially for vet students like us, and also for all the vet professionals. To know about the trade safeguards, especially in case of open borders, and also the connection between the policies of OIE International Standards and the government policies was a great opportunity to hear for us. Actually, the session was quite informative for us, I hope, as we came to know about the OIE standards of Nepal internationally. Hope you all enjoyed a lot from our speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma. By this, I too want to declare the end of our live interview with huge thankful to our key speaker, Dr. Banshi Sharma. Hope you all stay home and stay safe. Goodbye, stay safe, bye.